we enter the qualifying day for the month of May here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But first, we've got an hour practice session, 2 groups, 30 minutes each. And after a fog delay, we are green and we have cars out on track for the first time. Hello everyone, welcome along. Cars are just getting ready to circulate round. We've got Kiffin Simpson in the 4 as well out on track, and Marcus Armstrong out on track as well. Romain Grosjean, Nolan Siegel out on track along with Marcus Armstrong, but let's go down pit road to Dave Burns.
Kiffin Simpson did his install lap here, brought it back in. Talking to the team this morning, he was one of the teams that definitely needed to go out this morning because they changed the motor on this car. Yes, another Honda engine changed out of a Chip Ganassi Racing entry. So they did that. They're happy with their install. Temps look good. And now Kiffin Simpson will get a chance to go out and make a real run to set himself up for qualifying later today.
Interesting. Another engine change, preemptive. We've seen a few as we take a look at Romain Grosjean. And by the way, you know, you often hear drivers and teams say when we think it's a blown engine, well, we need to look into it. We have an example of why that's the case. That was the original reaction from everyone that I was around down in the Rahal Letterman Lanigan pit, is that, yeah, we're pretty sure we lost the engine here. And they go back and look at it. It was an overboost issue for Pietro Fittipaldi, and he was able to get a few more laps in at the end of the day and not have to move to a spare engine.
Yeah, kind of a surprise that you wouldn't see that quite clearly on the data, but you never know what all the traces might be showing at a given time. It certainly didn't sound good watching and listening to the onboard for Fittipaldi, as Romain Grosjean looks easy flat through turn 4. What was he looking like yesterday? 19th on the single lap, no tow, a 232.1. So comfortably mid-pack yesterday, and you see the difference with no win, 238 going into turn 1. It should match up pretty close to that on the back straight as he goes into turn 3.
Yeah, absolutely as well. So Romain Grosjean, 240 down towards turn 3. I think I saw 241 miles per hour there as well. The 11 of Marcus Armstrong just going down the backstretch towards turn 3 now. And Romain Grosjean second with his 1 lap speed on a 4 lap speed. Best average speed, I believe, is Romain Grosjean. Yes, he is. Lap 1, 232.395. Lap 2, 231.804. Lap 3, 231.610. Average of 231.936. His first run for Romain Grosjean, as Marcus Armstrong going very slow in the pit entrance down on the low side of turn 3. Romain Grosjean comes out of turn 4 towards the yard of bricks. What is his lap 4 speed? It is a 231.455 for a 4 lap average of 231.816 miles per hour with 5 minutes into this session. Kiffin Simpson has just made his way back out on track for the second time in this session, and Romain Grosjean enters pit road now, just in towards the entrance of turn 3 as well. The Junkers Hollinger Racing. And Marcus Armstrong has pitted as well. But let's go back down pit road to Dylan Welsh.
Racing number 18 car. It's been an eventful 24 hours for this group. Yesterday in practice, the spare car, the primary car I should say, got upside down. Nolan got into the wall at the exit of turn number 2. You'll see that replay here. Just a small bobble. Car stepped out on him quickly, hit the wall at the exit of the corner, and over he went. So it damaged the tub when the car came down onto the racetrack and made contact right there. So they've gone to the backup car, which we talked about yesterday is Jack Harvey's road course car that raced at the GP last weekend. So there's been some overnight work done to get this car put into oval trim. Nolan just went out for an install lap, and they're putting a set of sticker Firestone tires on right now. I spoke with the team, though, and they said that they feel like this car is still pretty good. One of the things that Dale Coyne Racing has taken some pride in over the last few years is just the fit of their body. So it's not like this is a car that's not aerodynamically sound. They've put some work into kind of smoothing off the edges around this race car, making sure it flows through the air nice and smooth, everything you'd want out of a super speedway car. So Nolan's going to go out and just try and get some laps. He needs to get more comfortable here anyways, but obviously shake down this spare car as well.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Kiffin Simpson back out on track from Georgetown Grand Cayman, and is out on track 6th gear as he goes through turn 3, 230 miles per hour, back down to 5th as he exits turn 4. Nolan Siegel just going out for 1 install lap, didn't even complete 1 full lap, so still 0 laps on the board completed for the 18 of Nolan Siegel in Jack Harvey's road course car. As you just heard down from pit road, Kiffin Simpson continuing to circulate. Went up to 6th gear momentarily, now back down to 5th gear as he goes up towards turn 3 and turn 4 to complete another lap as well. Out of turn 4 now, towards the yard of bricks. Let's see what his last speed was. Up to 6th gear, in towards turn 1. It was a 230.405 his last lap. Lap 1 was 230.694, which is an average of 230.549 as well, with 51 minutes on the clock. Back down to 5th gear. Kiffin Simpson using a lot of 6th gear on his laps as well as he goes across the yard of bricks one more time. Lap 3 speed was a 230.330, which knocks his average just down a little bit of a 230.476 as well. And he is going to complete his 4-lap average as he does not back down and dive down into pit road. 6th gear through turn 3. Does he drop down to 5th gear into turn 4? Yes, he does, and comes off of turn 4 and up towards the yard of bricks. Let's see what his 4-lap average is, Kiffin Simpson, as he goes across the line. His lap 4 speed was a 230.111, which is an average of 230.385 miles per hour. So as Kiffin Simpson finishes his 4-lap average, Nolan Siegel has just completed his 2nd full lap as well, with Romain Grosjean heading out on the circuit as well as Nolan Siegel. As we pick him up going through turn 1, Marcus Armstrong just exiting pit road as well. 2-time IMSA Sports Car Championship LMP2 class winner, of course, Nolan Siegel. 2 Indy Pro 2000 wins, 3 Indy NXT wins, and this is his first Indianapolis 500 attempt for Nolan Siegel, the rookie, and he ended up on his roof yesterday coming out of turn 2. There's Nolan Siegel in 4th gear as he goes up towards the yard of bricks, so just getting the car set up in the correct settings, as it is Jack Harvey's road course car. Up into 5th gear, still only 220 miles per hour for Nolan Siegel, so he's not doing a fast run yet, which is not surprising due to this being the first laps of this car's turn around the Indy 500. After switching cars overnight, the Dale Coyne Racing team finished on this car, I believe, just before 6 a.m. Eastern time, so only around 3 hours ago did the team stop getting this car ready to go out on track today. One of the other cars who also ended up in the wall here at the month of May, Linus Lundqvist, is out on track as well, just getting his first laps in of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this hour. And Nolan Siegel just getting used to the car, just doing some install laps round the speedway, and his speeds average of his last lap, his turn 1 speed was 228.412, turn 3 speed trap was 227.84, so he is definitely doing install laps as well. Linus Lundqvist 192.602 through the turn 3 speed trap as well, so he's just getting install laps in as well around the circuit. Only 5 cars ventured out this session currently. Linus Lundqvist just getting his first couple of laps in as well. Nolan Siegel goes across the yard of bricks one more time and in towards turn 1 once more, and up towards turn 2, where we've had a couple of incidents here this month of May, and one of them was involving Nolan Siegel yesterday as well. 231 miles per hour as he goes across the turn 3 speed trap that time round for the rookie, and Linus Lundqvist just going through turn 3 and turn 4 now as well. Nearly a quarter through this practice session already. But back on the way. Only a half an hour delay. I didn't think we were going to get going for this at 9 a.m. Eastern, but they did, and it was a 4-lap average of 223.031 for Nolan Siegel, so definitely just getting that car up to speed and getting laps under its belt, developing the car in this final hour of practice before we head into qualifications day 1, 4 p.m. British summertime, as Nolan Siegel heads down the pit road entry, but does not go down into pit road, gets out the way of Linus Lundqvist, then dives back up onto the speedway across the yard of bricks. Linus Lundqvist on some laps now as well, and Nolan Siegel has pitted this time and has exited once more, so Nolan Siegel keeps diving out of the way of cars using the pit road entry roads down on the low side of the course. But let's go down to pit road and speak with Scott Dixon.
Morning session for you guys.
I think anything's on the table for us. I think as a group we're definitely struggling for speed, which is kind of unusual considering, one of our cars has been on the pole or fighting for it probably for the last 3, 4, 5 years. So yeah, it's definitely interesting right now. Unfortunately the 9 and the 10 drew a pretty bad draw as well, but that's just the way it goes. So just trying to get the best out of what we can and see where we stand later today.
What was the discussion like last night? What do you guys kind of try to emphasize just to try to find speed, or can you find speed, or is it just kind of is what it is?
Yeah, the balance was pretty good. I'd say we're, a lot more trim than, the cars that are going fast. We've even tried putting that back on just to see if we're missing something with some of the scrub, but the car doesn't feel like it's scrubbing that much. So, yeah, it's just probably a lot of checking, right, to make sure that we haven't left something. But when you get that with all 5 cars, that's pretty abnormal. So, yeah, I don't know. I wish we knew a lot more answers this morning, but hopefully it looks like the cars are sped up a little bit, especially with the 8 and the 11. Especially in these conditions, it's pretty draggy right now, so that's a good sign. But who knows what that means.
Thanks, Scott. All the Ganassi cars are out here on pit road with the exception of Scott's. His will be out here in a moment, but Alex Palou is out here as well, so we'll get a good read on what Ganassi's got, if they made any improvements overnight.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for that down pit road as we turn back up to the main camera and everyone is down pit road. Armstrong, Grosjean, Lundqvist, Simpson and Siegel, the only cars who have ventured out on track this morning. So, because everyone is down pit road, let's go join NBC.
Yeah, at 235 miles an hour, which is roughly terminal velocity, depending on the team on the straightaways right now. We saw 240 yesterday, but at 235, INDYCAR in this configuration is producing about 3,300 pounds of downforce and 1,000 pounds of drag. At 200 miles an hour, the downforce is 2,500 pounds and 750 pounds of drag. So that gives you an idea. As speed increases, you make more downforce, but you also demand more from the tires in the corner. So that's the phenomenon we always talk about in terms of staying flat to produce that downforce and keep the ride height down where it's set to go. As you see, all the downforce going away from Linus Lundqvist as he got into the wall in turn 2. Pretty heavy with the right rear. He got his left front onto the rumble strip at the apex and went for quite a ride through the grass.
He was back out yesterday and got some solid work in and is in the same camp of the rest of the Ganassis. Scott Dixon explored. Not as quick as they have been. So why would that be from 1 year, not just 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to this year?
Well, you start with the obvious one, which is that certainly yesterday, Chevrolet flexed big time, right? They owned, what, 7 of the top 10? And, you know, the Hondas clearly didn't seem to have the same performance relative to Chevy at the higher boost levels. Now, Honda can certainly try to turn things up and stretch things a little bit more today, but they've also had some failures, right? We've seen several Honda engine changes so far this month, so you've got to balance performance against reliability. How much do you try to squeeze out of it at the expense of damaging the motor? So take that on the Ganassi scorecard. However, the Andretti team seemed to be a step above Ganassi yesterday as a Honda team, if you include the Meyer-Shank program, as Alex Palou watches on and Marcus Armstrong makes a run here. But then you compare yourself to Andretti, and it's like, well, why all of a sudden have we stepped down? As Scott said, hey, we've been in contention for the front row for the last several years. And now you go to the new Firestone tire. Are they struggling to find the kind of optimal damper settings and downforce settings to take care of the new compound? So as the 11 runs here, Dave, the performance out of Armstrong is looking just that, pretty strong.
And I did ask his strategist, Taylor Kyle, why this morning. He said searching for more speed. We feel like we'll have it when we hit the track this morning, and hoping what we dialed in takes the Ganassi organization even further down the road to speed for qualifying this afternoon, actually this morning, because as you've talked about, they need it. So Marcus out there now setting good lap times. Meanwhile, driver who was also on track was Romain Grosjean for Juncos Hollinger Racing. You had a 4-lap run out there. What did you feel about your race car? Was it an improvement over yesterday?
Yeah, I think we got a bit lost yesterday afternoon, so we reverted back to something Agustin drive yesterday. Balance was very good. I think we can trim a little bit now for qualifying. We're just waiting to see the conditions. We are lucky with a peak number 5 for quali, so that's a good start, but now we just need to make sure that we get everything right. But the team has been working well so far. I say yesterday not our best day, but I think we're back on track.
Do you know who made your pick? Because that was a very lucky pick, 5th.
It's Ricardo's Junco's daughter, and she picked 7 for Agustin and 5th for me, so we're going to keep her in our pocket.
She's hired.
Yeah, the draw map.
Cars back on track. Marcus Armstrong with his white flag, 231.665 lap 1, 231.124 lap 2, lap 3, 231.380. So his average is 231.390. as Marcus Armstrong on his final lap, sorry. And ready. Scott Dixon's car is on pit road as his car has come up onto the timing screen. So all Chip Ganassi cars are out on pit road or on track. It was a 231.122, which is a 231.323 mile per hour average as well. There is Chip Ganassi watching on from pit road as Marcus Armstrong out on track. And let me just fix the driver tracker and we'll come back to you as Marcus Armstrong heads down pit road. So let's hand it down to NBC.
So you're looking into other things. We should have noted what the track temperature was when we started this morning.
78, I believe.
The track temp.
78, I believe.
Yeah, not much more than that. 82. It's different in each course. It's nice and chilly in turn 2.
Oh, I'm going with the average up here.
At 80 now,
yeah,
so it's not really moving up yet.
Yeah.
We'll make a note of that, what that is at 11 o'clock.
I'm going to take a picture.
Good call. Well, right now, it's a beautiful day. The fog has lifted. Temperature in the mid-60s. Come out and join us if you're in the Indianapolis area today. We have activity until 5:50 p.m. this evening or late afternoon.
Look at that.
Yeah, they're here early, ready to go. And we will know the starting positions for those that end the day between the 13th and 30th position. We will know the fastest 12. We'll still have a chance at pole, and we'll start no worse than 12th. And we'll know that 4 are not going to get a lot of sleep. Going for 3 spots tomorrow in the middle of the afternoon.
How long will it take us to get the first run of 34 cars in, Kevin? You're really good at this math every year.
It's like 11 per hour if something doesn't go wrong. You know, give or take 1, but it's 10 to 12 per hour, so it generally takes about 3 hours to fill the field, as long as nothing goes wrong. You know, meaning somebody oils down the track or has a mechanical and there's a delay or there's a weather issue.
So that gets us to 2 o'clock-ish. And then we normally get that lull where you might see 1 or 2 reruns, and then the games begin.
Yeah, and then it's a matter of, I mean, ideally, you'd like to go as late as possible, but that line gets really long. So just to kind of remind people of the scenario, there is a no-risk line where you can go as many times as you want, and if you go slower, you don't lose your fast time. But everyone gets in that line, and sometimes you never get to the front of that line. So if you're outside of the top 30, you go to the fast lane and then have an opportunity to get on track, or you can withdraw your time.
And typically we see rerunning for multiple reasons: to make the top 30 that is locked into the Indy 500, or to make the top 12 to give yourself a shot at pole on Sunday. But in doing so, if you go to the priority lane, you're removing yourself. If you're comfortably in the top 30, you're taking a risk.
And we've seen people do that before.
I've done it. It's always an interesting negotiation, team and driver, engineer. It's sort of a measure of confidence, right? Sometimes it's looking at the driver and saying, do you think you can do a better job? Or it's looking at your engineer's eyes and saying, will this change make us faster?
Back into it. You got this. Copy.
5 minutes remaining in this session, so another run for Nolan Siegel we'll keep an eye on. You know, one of the biggest examples of that was Scott Brayton, right, in 95. And that was in the time when you had to withdraw the car. So he had to go to a backup, 96, I'm sorry, 96. He went back-to-back poles, didn't he, in 95 and 96. But the second one, he withdrew a car, and he was going to be safely in the front row. Second, third, fourth, something like that. to go for pole, and he got it done. But that risk, he may not have made the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Nolan Siegel and Kiffin Simpson, Lundqvist out on track as well. Let's look at the YouTube chat. Blooded the Brave saying, good morning for Indianapolis. The sky is looking dark over on the west side of town near the track, so maybe some weather coming in as well. We did have fog this morning, but that fog has now cleared, and it is looking to be a nice day as well, other than the dark sky over the west of Indianapolis currently. Now Nolan Siegel heading out on track, completing another 4-lap average speed before the next group heads out in 3.5 minutes time. Marcus Armstrong just headed out on track as well. Nolan Siegel goes across the yard of bricks in towards turn 1 and continuing to circulate. Let's go down pit road with Chip Ganassi.
No concern to be had. What about the speed, Chip, in your race cars and the qualifying coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we have some concern. You know, we're not even we're used to being the best Honda. We're not even the fastest Hondas right now, so we have some work to do to catch up. And but we feel good about our race car, and you know, we're just not. I don't know that we're going to be setting any qualifying records this week.
Did engineering and everybody say that they had something they thought they could get a little more out of it? Are you willing to just kind of make the field and then race for the win on next Sunday?
Well, I don't know. We're not happy just to make the field, I can tell you that. You know, but obviously you work in the off season to be here today and this weekend, and obviously we're like I said, I don't think we're going to set any records today.
Stand by. Question from Townsend Bell.
Yeah, Dave, just wondered what Chip thinks about balancing the performance request from Honda versus reliability. They've had a couple engine changes, so does that concern him at this point?
Balancing the performance request from Honda versus reliability, as you've had a couple of issues with failures here.
Yeah, you know, obviously we've had some engine issues. Yeah, I'm a little bit perplexed by that. That hasn't helped us looking for speed at all, having to change engines and whatever. So, yeah, I mean, we have some work to do today.
All right. Be well on the rest of the day. That's Chip Ganassi. All 5 cars will be out in this morning's practice, I was told earlier. Again, just looking for a little speed and banking on that reliability.
Yeah, absolutely. So interesting there from the Chip Ganassi cars. And 1.5 minutes left in the first half of this practice session. Lap 1 for Linus Lundqvist, 232.525. Lap 2, 232.472. Lap 3, 232.281, which is an average of 232.426. That was as well as Linus Lundqvist heads through turn 3, and he has backed off 200 miles per hour still, but has backed off his final lap as well. Nolan Siegel out on track also, and that is Marcus Armstrong taking his helmet off and is done for this session as well. The 4 of Kiffin Simpson getting out of the car as well, with 20 seconds left in this first half of practice. And they'll just change the tyres on the 4 of Kiffin Simpson. And with that, the first half of the practice is now completed, and the green flag goes out for the second half of practice 6, group 2, and Connor Daly out on pit road as well and heading towards the track, hits the pit exit line and is now out on track, the 24 of Connor Daly. The first out in Group 2 of Practice 6. Connor Daly, 108 starts, 1 pole in his IndyCar career, Indianapolis 500 career, 10 starts, best start 11th, best finish 6th. So this will be his 11th attempt here at Indianapolis. Let's go down and talk to Marcus Armstrong.
He's pretty spot on. I guess this is my first time here. It's the first time I've put boost on and driven it hard. So it's, you know, I don't have the greatest experience around here, but the car does feel good. It's pretty mint, to be honest. Pretty well balanced. Unfortunately, we're just looking for a bit of pace. So it is what it is. We're going to do our best today. We're going to try and maximize our package, and then anything can happen here. And with Chip Ganassi Racing, I'm very confident with the people around me. So we're going to do what we can do and just drive as fast as I can.
You mentioned your first Indy. Is every single lap important to you? Was this very short session before qualifying extremely important for you?
Yeah, obviously the race is so long. You know, obviously you want to be starting up the front as always. We're going to be doing our best to maximize today. I mean, there's not more to add really. The car feels good. We're just going to try and get every last little bit out of it. I'm going to go talk to everyone and analyze these 4 corners like it's the, I don't know what, like it's rocket science. It's fun. I'm enjoying it though. It's properly quick. So just, yeah, eyes up the road. It's an interesting game, this.
I like that. I think it's a new marketing campaign. Indy, properly quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is definitely properly quick. Connor Daly, 233 miles per hour round turn 4 up towards the yard of bricks. Up into 6th gear as he goes round turn 1. Scott Dixon also out on track as well. His lap 1 was a 232.054 for Connor Daly. On lap 2 now as he heads towards the backstretch towards turn 3 as well. Scott Dixon just going through turn 1 and turn 2 at the other end of the raceway as well. Connor Daly through turn 4 up towards the yard of bricks, and let's see what his lap time is for lap 2. It is a 231.937 average, 231.996 miles per hour. On to lap 3 now for Connor Daly. Scott Dixon has entered pit road, so just a couple of installation laps there for the number 9 car. The 51 of Catherine Legg is going down pit road to head out on track. Scott Dixon back out on track as he just went down the pit entrance road to get out of the way of 24 of Connor Daly, who goes across the line once more. Lap 3 was a 231.377, an average of 231.789 as Connor Daly on his final lap of the 4-lap average now. Catherine Legg just on the low side joins the raceway now on the exit of turn 2. And Connor Daly through turn 3 now on his final lap up into turn 4 and the exit of turn 4 past the pit road entrance up towards the line and yard of bricks. His lap 4 was a 230.912, which is a 4-lap average of 231.570 for Connor Daly. Alex Palou has just ventured out on track for the first time this morning as well. Catherine Legg out on track as well. Connor Daly will now head down pit road. And here is the 51 of Catherine Legg we pick up as she goes down towards turn 3 from Guildford, England. 40 starts, best finish was 6th, 2006 Milwaukee and 2007 Las Vegas. 7 top 10 finishes. This will be her 4th start at the Indianapolis 500 and her best finish was 22nd in 2012. She heads across the yard of Ricks to start her 4-lap average, I do believe. Keeping an eye on that Alex Palou, who is going through turn 1 and turn 2 now. And also out on track, Scott Dixon as well. 24 minutes left in this practice session. Catherine Legg just heading through turn 4 now and up towards the line. But let's go down to pit road.
In the day, what are you looking for? You can't just find pace overnight. It's not that easy. So what are you trying to, or what were you trying to find here in those first couple of runs?
I mean, I think we were still a little bit on the back foot. Obviously, being a rookie, we need more laps generally than I think other people. And then obviously it rained out. We had our crash 2 days ago. So I think everything just put us slightly behind. So, you know, we're still playing catch up a little bit. That's why we kind of used this morning to iron some things out. You know, still not 100% comfortable, but as comfortable as one can be before going into qualifying for the 500, I think.
Where do you feel like you would like to be more comfortable?
I'd like it to be a 234 instead of a 232. Then we would be happy, but we'll see what we can do. I think, you know, this session was good for me. I found a lot of confidence in this session. You know, yesterday, you know, it was just about me rebuilding confidence. So we had a bunch of downforce on, so today we started to, you know, trim it out a little bit, and I still felt pretty good, which was a nice feeling for me, you know, knowing that we're going to qualify here in an hour or two. All
right, Linus Lundqvist feels good behind the wheel of the race car, and he'll go out about right in the middle of the qualifying order, 16th.
Yeah, absolutely as well. Alex Palou to the top of the timing screen currently. His first lap was a 232.727. He goes across the line. Let's see what his lap 2 speed was. It's a 232.310, which is an average of 232.518 as he heads on to his third lap out of turn 2 now. Down the backstretch towards turn 3, Catherine Legg also still out on track, just going up towards turn 1 now. Alex Palou through turn 3. 238 I saw for a moment. Turn 3 speed trap said 237.496. Chip Ganassi watching through his hands as Alex Palou goes up towards the line. Lap 3 speed was 232.295, which is an average of 232.444. Catherine Legg enters pit road, no doubt, to get out of Alex Palou's way. Let's see if she commits to pit road or will come back up onto the race track. As Alex Palou goes through turn 4 now, Catherine Legg does indeed come back up onto the racetrack. And Alex Palou across the line, his lap 4 average, 232.013, which is a 4-lap average of 232.336 miles per hour with just under 21 minutes to go in this final practice session before we get into qualifying day 1. Let's go down to pit road and talk with Nolan Siegel.
Warm up for you this morning.
It's good to get back into it and shake down a pretty much brand new car. The guys did a great job getting back together. Everything's working as it should. We'll see if we can get it into a more comfortable window for qualifying. It's currently a little bit uncomfortable. So, you know, hopefully we can sort it out and be good to go later today.
So you're working with veteran Charlie Kimball. How has he worked with you after yesterday? And then even this morning, knowing that, yeah, we're going to have to get a little bit more speed out of it and get that comfortability back in. How has he worked with you through this?
Yeah, it's been great having Charlie here. He's been through a lot here at the Speedway, and I haven't. So having someone that, you know, can help me through this and, you know, help me get in the right mindset, figure out what we need to do to execute properly is really important. And, you know, I think we're doing things properly. I feel like I'm in a good place mentally and physically. So, you know, we'll see what happens later, and I think it'll be okay. I think we'll figure it out, and all of these guys here have helped me a lot. So
your dad, Mark, here. Help us understand the dynamic there. Is he here just to be dad? Does he get to build into the driver's side of Nolan Siegel a little bit too? How does that work?
He's here as a dad, supportive parent. So yeah, I'm grateful to have him here, and we're all excited to be here no matter what happens.
Yeah, love it. It's the Indy 500. You should have family here, right?
And Mark has done driving. That's where the question comes from. He's running the Michelin Pilot Series in IMSA. But his dad really got into it after Nolan started karting when he was a kid, and started karting with him. And as Nolan grew, he found that he had some aptitude for it, and has raced on his own. And there's a father-son combination, and that's a dad that has high-level experience. Derek Daly here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Formula One driver, broadcaster, has worked with us before. Listening in to his son, Connor.
And it's interesting to see Derek down there in close debrief with Connor, because there's been phases in Connor's racing life where Derek's been more of a spectator, or phases where Derek has been more intimately involved in helping his son, and especially in the early years of his career. So this is really nice to see father and son huddling closely here and working through the particulars of qualifying day at Indy. But I'm sure Connor is looking for more right now. 2:32.0, pretty good. But Connor also is coming off, 3 or 4 years with Ed Carpenter Racing, where he's had a really fast race car and had a chance to lead laps at Indy. So he'll be hungry to get that feeling again, as Scott Dixon sees 2:36, I believe, going into turn 1.
I'll say this about Connor. He doesn't always qualify great. He races great. He has come from mid-pack many times. His qualifying the last few years, 16th, 18th, 19th, 18th. His best is 11th, but he has led laps 2 different times, 40 of them in 21, and has finished in the top 10 3 times. By the way, Dad's best finish, 12th at 85 among his 6 500 starts. As we see what Scott Dixon has found.
Not enough.
Really, if he has found anything.
Not enough, Kevin. 231.3. So now, if you're Scott Dixon, as much as he is pretty cool and monotone in the interviews, you're starting to get a little fired up, right? You're going, what's going on here? You got Palou almost a mile an hour quicker, Lundqvist, Armstrong. Scott Dixon looks to be the 4th fastest Ganassi car, apples to apples. Conditions still ideal, and the speed just simply not there for the 9. Consistency spot on. And this is where, as a driver, you come in and you're like, guys, there's really nothing else I can do. This thing is stuck. I'm wide open, and it's just not pulling on the straightaways. So there you see it, 235, just 236. Even with Connor Daly, Palou, you were seeing 237, 238 at the end of the straightaways. I'll bet this is right in the same 1/10 of a mile an hour. Let's see, 231.0. So it did drop.
It did drop indeed. The final, penultimate lap. Scott Dixon now on his final lap as he heads down towards turn 3. There is the strategist for Dixon, Mike Holt, watching on as Scott Dixon heads down towards turn 4, out towards the Yard of Bricks. What is his 4th lap speed? It is a 230.780 with an average of 231.148 for the 9 of Scott Dixon. As well, that puts him 6th in the 4-lap average speed, which has happened right now with 15 minutes left in this practice session before qualifying. Let's go down and join NBC.
For the rest of the field, so Scott's going to feel kind of helpless, like, where do I differentiate myself?
Great point. All right, Dylan, you've caught up with Connor Daly.
Yes, we have, and he was curiously observing that Scott Dixon run as well. Connor's fourth right now on the 4-lap average at 2:31.5. So what'd you make of your runs this morning and what you've got maybe for later this afternoon?
Well, I mean, it was just mostly a confidence booster for me. We had some pretty large loss of controls yesterday in the middle of 1 and 2. So, but we did find our problem. You know, overnight, the guys looked at the data, and we were losing a lot of downforce from the floor, essentially stalling it out. So that's not ideal. And then this morning we went back out and kind of got back to our confident balance. And so that was really our first ever run of like 4 laps where things were going right. So for the first ever run, I'm not upset about that at all, and I think it at least puts us more in the window of being like kind of right there, and that's kind of what we're aiming for, like be closer to my teammate Ryan, and then we'll see what happens.
Where's the balance of getting comfortable but ultimately being uncomfortable enough to still put 4 laps together?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's qualifying has always been a rough one for me. There's no doubt about that. But when you're confident and when the car gives you that confidence, the speed kind of just comes naturally, right? So there is some uncomfort that, you know, makes it fast, but when there's just a couple things. I mean, qualifying here, I mean, Hinch knows it, Townsend knows it, everyone, you guys know it. It's like one tiny thing, and all of a sudden you go from being a 0 to being like, all right, I can drive again. You know what I mean? So that's the magic of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's so hard and so annoying, but when it goes nice, it feels great.
So where were you at on that scale on that run as far as what more you, or how much further you can go on trimming out or that sort of thing to find some speed?
Well, I think for conditions, like obviously we start out at 232, right, and we faded. So I think if we maybe add a hair of downforce, that probably keeps us in the window better. I think the Team Chevy engines, they pull hard, so you know, we're not afraid to maybe put a little bit of downforce in it. We'll see. But I think just to keep it more consistent, that's the goal. You see a lot of cars running consistently, but I'm happy now to where I can confidently go into my qualifying run, which is a huge thing, because last night, I don't know if I was sleeping. I was thinking about all kinds of weird things. So we made it happen. I trusted my butt, which was right yesterday, and it turns out we're okay today.
That's usually how it goes. You got to trust your butt sometimes, but good improvements overnight, it sounds like, for Connor Daly.
Alex Palou had a lot of trust in his race car. Didn't have all the speed he wanted yesterday. Better this morning, and how was the run overall?
Yeah, it was a little bit better than yesterday. We knew it's not going to get better conditions than what we have now, but yeah, making small gains. Hopefully we can find a little bit more before qualifying. And yeah, looking forward to it.
We talked to Chip earlier, and he said, yeah, there's some work to do and some concerns, but you've seen this group dig before. What's it like to watch them try to find that little more for you?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not in the position we were last year, for example, and we are not where we want to be, but still, it's a position we are in for this weekend. We found some speed from yesterday. I think it's been my best 4-lap average. So if we find a little bit more, we'll be happier, and hopefully we can fight a little bit today.
All right, good luck this afternoon. Alex Palou.
Well, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and this race, and especially qualifying, are never fully predictable. As we came into this year, this month, I feel like everyone that pays attention to INDYCAR had a few certainties, and one would be, yeah, the Ganassi car. Certainly Palou and Dixon are going to have no concerns about being in the Firestone Fast 12 shootout. And now they do.
It's unlikely, but it's possible that based on Dixon's pace right now, he might be in the top 30 conversation to just lock himself in today. It's unlikely, but if you look at where Kiffin Simpson and Scott Dixon sit right now, and then you look at the report from yesterday, I mean, look at Armstrong. Armstrong's no toe speed, 23rd. Dixon's struggling to get close to that, so it's not good right now for a guy that has had so much success here, and these kids are excited.
Well, I think your point was spot on about that's where a Dixon can separate himself when it gets difficult. So it is going to be more difficult when he qualifies. So at least comparing with those that make their first attempt in the heat of the day, that might be something where he can make a difference. But he's still got to match the times or beat them of those that qualify in good conditions. before noon.
Catherine Legg starts to put the gloves back on and get ready to make another, probably her final run of this practice session. Speed right now 229.6 on the 4-lap average. She had a best lap of 229.9.
Here's what's coming up. Practice available for 10 more minutes, and then qualifying from 11 until 5:50 instead of me explaining about. How about someone that's done it? James Hinchcliffe.
Man, what a relief. Drivers have had a full week of practice, corner after corner, lap after lap. More practice than any other NTT IndyCar Series race by a huge margin. Should be feeling pretty good about themselves. Other than the fact that the two most stressful days of the year are coming up. Indianapolis 500 qualifying. I'm talking 4 laps, 10 miles, 16 turns as fast as you can possibly go. No brakes, all throttle, and not even the slightest lift around the whole track. Pedal to the floor. Now let's tackle one day at a time. Saturday, each car is guaranteed 1 qualifying attempt, but we'll be setting the field for positions 13 through 30. Getting yourself into one of those spots is job number 1. For those that are uber fast, they'll be getting into the top 12, and that means that you move on to Sunday and you have more opportunities at qualifying attempts. If you find yourselves in positions 31 and higher, well, you too get a move on to Sunday, but for all the wrong reasons. You'll be battling just to make it into the greatest spectacle in racing. Suboptimal, as we say. That's the rundown for Saturday. Now, Sunday's its own animal, and it deserves its own video, so watch for that soon. We are in store for a great weekend. It's glorious and gut-wrenching all at the same time. Bottom line, the question is, are you fast enough?
And that man has experienced both ends. He has won the pole for the biggest race in the world, and he is one of those that has failed to make the biggest race in the world and had to deal with that too.
I'm not sure there's a driver in the history of the Indy 500 that has the full spectrum of experience here that James Hinchcliffe does.
Yeah.
When you think about the accident, the bump day drama, the pole position, he's literally seen it all. And a great overview of what's to come today and tomorrow.
You never really went through any concern about making the race, I don't believe, did you?
No, very fortunate in that regard to always have cars that were comfortably quick enough and sometimes contender for pole. In fact, my best chance for pole position, I lost out to James, who did such an awesome job there back in 2016. I think we qualified 4th that day, but James had the speed. Catherine right now trying to find some of that magic over 4 laps. Track temp starting to rise now at 86 as Jack Harvey watches on, and he'll be doing what he can to try to impart some wisdom for Catherine Legg, and I'm sure keeping an eye on Nolan Siegel and what is Jack Harvey's road course car for Detroit, the first race
down for lap 1 complete
after the Indy 500.
Yeah, absolutely. Lap 1 complete for Catherine Legg, and it was a 229.649 out on track. And on her second lap now, up towards turn 3 she goes. And up to 6th gear, only 235 I saw peak, and the turn 3 speed calculated it at 234.366 for Catherine Legg, with 5.5 minutes left in this practice session. Lap 2 was a 229.751, just faster, which is an average of 229.7 flat, as she heads round turn 2 once more on her penultimate lap in the Dale Coyne Racing car. Palou still top on his 4-lap average speed, 232.335. And goes across the yard of bricks. 229.653 was Catherine Legg's 3rd lap. 229.684 is the average right now. Onto the final lap, taking the white flag the last time. And we'll head now down towards turn 3 for the final time on her 4-lap average simulation. And now down towards turn 4. And across the line for the final time on her 4-lap average sim, it's a 229.697, which is a 299.688. Improves on speed, not position, on the 4-lap average speed for Catherine Legg, with 4 minutes to go as well. So Catherine Legg will head down pit road this time, I am expecting. Yes, she does. So let's hand you back down to NBC.
So, do we have any more takers? Probably not, with 3.5 minutes remaining in the availability. Let's see if anyone else wants to get any kind of a look. Does not appear so. I don't see any other race cars on that pit lane.
None at all.
So I think we are where we are at, and the work has been done. Next time it counts. There are multiple opportunities. There is the possibility of practice time. If no one presents at the line, the track could be open in the middle of the day for practice. That doesn't happen a lot anymore because there's no reason. Well, there is a reason, but there's less of a reason not to go out and essentially do a simulation that counts if you go through the line that has no one in line. So it will likely continue to stay busy throughout the day. Dave.
Scott Dixon had time on track in his 9 car. Mike Hull is a strategist. What did you see this morning? Improvement, optimism? What are you thinking about for later today?
Well, we saw a lot of things that we'll work on for qualifying. Number one, we always do. We always gain. The track changes here a lot from day to day, and so really the key element at Chip Ganassi Racing with teammates during qualifying runs is to read the racetrack. That helps. It always has. We're going to go back now and get ready for qualifying.
And you have one of the times to read a lot because you had a late draw, right? How much is the heat going to affect the 9 car today?
Well, I think first of all we would rather draw early than late, but it's okay. It works, and the track will change with the heat. It'll be interesting to see early on, though, what happens with that initial grip level. But I think with the weather now, the way it's predicted to be, as you guys probably have seen it, I think later in the day is going to be pretty good.
And is that Scott Dixon territory then, better for the veteran?
I don't know about where his territory is. Maybe he's a stake to claim there. I don't know. But, you know, we're going to have a good day at Indianapolis. That's the main thing. This is the Indy 500, and qualifying's a huge day. It's certainly not race day. It's 2 different races here, let's face it. We're going to get ready for today's race, and then we've got a couple of more days to get ready for what counts.
Kevin, Scott, and Mike always do something special here at the 500.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So while it may not look great now, I don't know if I'd count that out. We had an interesting day yesterday. We're ready for a good one today. Scott McLaughlin seems comfortable and ready.
Is that this morning or is that last night?
No, that's this morning.
I mean, I want my guy to be a little more psyched than that, Kev. Come on. We got the dogs, the blanket on. He's in a Snuggie. But he was happy yesterday, especially with his pick, but he was not too psyched on this program as the wildlife took to the track, and a good 3 to 4 foot snake was hiding over at the apex of turn 1. And you know, you can certainly get a chuckle about that, but it is super, super disturbing as a driver at 235 to see something that you...
Checkered flag is out for the session. and we are getting ready for the classification as well. Okay, so it's Alex Palou with a 4-lap average result 232.335. Roman Grosjean 231.815. Then it was Linus Lundqvist, Connor Daly, Marcus Armstrong, Scott Dixon, Kevin Simpson, Catherine Legg, Nolan Siegel in 9th as well. The only takers to the track this morning, those 9 cars. Okay, we will end this stream and hopefully see you for qualifying 4 p.m. British Summer Time, 11 a.m. at Indianapolis Eastern Time. Joseph saying, is there any way to watch Peacock Premium for free? I don't believe there is, but it's on UK and Sky Sports Action currently. Unfortunately, Sky Sports are not showing the first hour of qualifying, so we will be on IndyCar Radio until Josh takes it over with IndyCar Live. That's worldwide, and TSN Plus in Canada has it as well. But we will hopefully see you at 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. British Summer Time for the start of qualifying day 1. See you then.